It has been a long couple of years since we have seen this friend on the podcast, but he is back once again. He has returned, and since he's been on the podcast last, he has blown up, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today. The one and only PokeRev is back on the Shadowless Podcast. PokeRev, thank you so much for being here.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for having me.
No, thank you.
PokeRev in the Poke building. Woo!
I got to say, definitely a friend of the podcast because you have been on the Shadowless Podcast more than anybody else as a special guest. So this is what, your third or fourth time? Something like that? I don't know. You were on the podcast, I think, late 2020, I want to say.
Yeah, I think it...
Before I joined on.
Right.
Before,
yeah,
this is our first podcast together for sure.
Do you remember when you hit 100,000 subscribers?
Yes. Yeah.
What month and year was that? Do you know?
Where were you when you hit 100K?
It was at the end of 2020. I want to say it was like November.
Okay.
Yeah.
So since then, we'll say end of 2020, and now we're at the beginning, March 2022, or we're getting into April 2022. Mm-hmm. You are at what, 730,000 subscribers, something like that? You're on your way to 1 million. You will 100% hit 1 million. I say by the end of summer, I would say. And it's going to happen.
Crazy.
100%.
That's
It's
crazy.
going to happen. And it's just what? That's like, what, a year-ish? A little over a year-ish, you have jumped up in a huge amount of subscribers. I mean, what?
Yeah, so...
What are you thinking in your head?
I'm thinking what's for lunch, but I mean... no, I'm like... I just can't believe it. Like, it's just... I mean, I'm sure you know the feeling, but just the fact to have a community of people that come hang out here... like almost daily, where you can basically watch any kind of Pokemon cards opening that you'd want. I try to hit everything. It's just mind blowing. I'll record a video, or I'll finish up a live and I'll hit end and I'll just sit here a lot of times for just like 10-15 minutes and just think about it. Like, wow, I can't believe I'm able to do what I love, and I love what I do every day. It's crazy.
Yeah. So you're a full-time content creator now. Full-time. This is what you do. So when you go out and about and you meet somebody and they say, "Hey, well, what do you do for a living?" What's your explanation to them?
I usually start with I do YouTube content, and then inevitably they say, "Well, what do you do?" And then I won't say what I do, and they'll say, "Ask me." But then I'll say, I open up Pokemon cards, and I love to see the reaction. I'm sure you know the same thing. It's like,
yeah.
You'll either be like, huh, or they'll be like, wait, you could do that? Like, people watch that?
I remember the Pokemon.
So what do? You open the packs? Like, what's... Yeah. They'll be like, so wait, you open the, like, what exactly is, like, what are people watching for? You know, like, what... I'm like, and then I start getting to, like, oh, you can get, like, these crazy rare cards, and then, you know, some of them are, like, super valuable and collectible and rare, and then they're like, okay, I think I get it. And then they'll say, what's your channel? And then I'll say, PokeRev, and they'll say, what? They don't know what I mean. And they're like, I have to spell it out. I'll be like, okay, PokeRev, like Pokemon. And they're like, okay, I think I get it.
Yeah. I always get the what, too, whenever I say my channel name. And it's like, I have 3 simple... basically kind of syllables. Real breaking Nate. And it's still a what. Yeah. It's so interesting. But yeah, my conversations usually go about the exact same. I always say, well, I'm a YouTube content creator and a huge Pokemon fan. That's what I say. And then if they want further details, then I kind of go into it. And then usually the conversation ends with, I think I have some old Pokemon cards in my basement.
I remember collecting those when I was a kid.
I just tell people I'm an accountant.
There you go. That's perfect.
Yeah, I'm an accountant. No other questions. I'm a plumber.
Yeah, what do you do? Accountant things.
Yeah.
So
accountants do.
So I gotta say, you know, I want to talk. 'Cause I I always love talking to people about content creating, and it's always fascinating to hear people's stories and, obviously how fast they've grown and where their content is heading into next. So, like I mentioned, you're about at 730,000 subscribers, going to hit that million mark. And what do you have in mind as far as what is next for PokeRev? Are you going to, do you feel like you're going to branch out into something? Any ways like you want to grow your brand? Is there different type of content you want to do?
It's funny you mentioned that because I was having this exact conversation with my editor, I want to say 3 days ago. And it kind of all started with, what are you going to do when you hit 1 million subscribers? Will you branch out into other sort of content style or even others, even categories? And it's hard to think about it because I always want to put 110% into anything I do. So the thought of doing something maybe completely different as like another channel seems like a really fun idea. But at the same time, I am always like, okay, if I can only do it like once a day working on that content, I feel like that's not giving it my best. So I'm kind of in a position where I want to move the Pokemon card content into a direction that is completely different. And of course, like huge inspirations for a lot of YouTubers is somebody like Mr. Beast. I mean, you listen to him talk about it, his content creation, his strategies, and how his team is and everything in between. And he's really open about all that kind of stuff. It really kind of sparks that creativity when you listen to him talk. And something I kind of thought about was bringing sort of those bigger style videos to like real life, to the channel, where something as if like, opening a free Pokemon store where, maybe I could rent out a local store for the weekend, or like, a place that doesn't have anybody in there, and, rent it out for a week and just shoot out a tweet saying, hey, come here, free Pokemon cards, and do some kind of big style where people come through and they can just pick whatever they want off the shelf. They want to open it up. If not, they can, take it sealed, walk out. And all those sort of like bigger fleshed out videos that do take the creativity, the time to do them, the team to build it and all that stuff is kind of a direction where I definitely want to start at least seeing if it's possible to do, possibly later this year once I hit that mark, and then I really kind of change up the strategy a little bit. Obviously, I wouldn't be able to do those kinds of videos. Like right now I'm doing daily content, so I have to sort of schedule it out where, maybe there's a week or whatever where I only do a certain amount of videos so that I can schedule one bigger video in there once a month or once every couple months or whatever the case may be. And there are, I have this sort of like list of all these really cool ideas, like spend 24 hours in the world's biggest collectibles store, or like, all these big things that take time to fly out and do all this stuff. But I think it, because switching direction and kind of build something separate from Pokemon cards, to me, is a little bit, it's just like, I know I can't put everything into it. So I want to continue to put everything that I do into it and kind of just build off of what everybody is sort of invested in with my channel, if that makes sense.
No, that makes absolute sense. So I think you kind of answered one of my questions here of like inspiration wise, like who, even back when you started and now, like inspirations for your content, like the drive that made you want to create content.
Yeah. So, I mean, inspirations in the very beginning, see, I feel like I'm slightly, I have a little bit of a different backstory to before I even became a YouTuber. A lot of people see me when I first started YouTube, but they don't know what I've had been involved in 3, 4, 5 years before I even started the channel. That was just building on learning about everything about the whole hobby as a whole, getting involved with it and actually collecting and building my collections and doing all these things where I'm just so invested into it, both, financially as well as just, in my heart. I love Pokemon cards. I love the nostalgia attached to it. So starting back then, there were sort of people in the hobby that I kind of, like looked up to and looked to them for that initial inspiration. Like, guys like Zach, Gemmit Pokemon, Scott, SM Pratt, they might not have like the big like flashy channels with all the crazy editing and all this stuff. But when you get down to it, they just love the hobby as a whole. So that kind of sparked me to kind of like, okay, this is like, I'm not crazy for like liking this stuff at the age of like 20 something when I started, like 25 years old. Like, okay, like people are still enjoying it. I mean, I love it. And I'll keep doing it no matter what. Like, even if I'm the only person left, which obviously that's never going to happen, but I'll keep doing it. But it's just cool to see that these guys that are so, just, they just love it. And so that kind of is where it started with me. And then eventually, one day I decided, hey, like, I'm gonna try to do this. I've always put it off for so many years. I'm like, I don't have their camera equipment. I don't know how to talk on camera. And one day I was like, all right, let me just at least just hit the record button. Like, I'm sure the first video is not going to be like anything amazing, but I'm at least going to give it a shot. And then kind of building it up and seeing what everybody else was kind of into. And like creators like yourself and all three of you, really, like seeing you guys on camera like well before I even started doing content. I mean, I watched you guys you guys are OGs of OGs. I watched you guys like 4 or 5 years ago.
We're old people.
Like
old people
OGs that like invented opening cards on camera. I mean, I'm far from the first guy to open up cards on camera, but I at least wanted to bring things that I've learned over the years, my experiences, my talents and different things to this hobby and this community, hopefully for the better. And I've just been loving every second of it.
I remember when you first started, and I had told you, anytime you ever have a question about anything, text me, and I'll be more than happy to help you out however I can as far as information goes. And I always think back to those days when you very first started, and you were just like, I don't know if I should be doing this. It was, and you know what? Funny that you mentioned your first video, because I wanted to talk to you about your very first video here.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
I want to talk to you about your very first video. So
let's go.
I wrote down the name of your very first video. Is it?
You did a deep dive.
Is it okay? Is it okay if I say the name? Okay.
You can put whatever you want. Yeah, anything.
Okay. So this is your very first video on your current channel right now, and it's gambling on expensive sealed vintage Pokemon cards, investing worth it financially. Is that your very first video ever? Or were there other videos recorded before that didn't make the cut?
So what's really interesting is I actually started on Instagram TV. I don't know if it's still even called that, but I think it was like Instagram TV.
Whoa, IGTV?
Yeah. So
Are you serious?
That's where I was doing my content when I first started, because I was too nervous to take the jump to YouTube because I didn't have I had a following on Instagram, and I didn't have anybody on YouTube. So the actual first video that I ever recorded was is your base set booster box shadowless, and I did that on Instagram TV. I did like 5 or 6 videos on Instagram TV, and then I was talking to, I don't know if you know Rhyme Style, as a content creator. Yeah, so I was talking to Rhyme Style. I was like, man, like, what do I do? Like, should I actually jump on YouTube? I don't have a following, I like, or anything. Like, I don't know, like, if I should do it. And he was like, is that a real question? He was like,
I keep making IGTVs.
Put it on. He's like, it was so obvious. He was like, go on YouTube, like, and I was like, oh, okay. I just was like, all right, let me do it. And then, so what I did was I had like maybe 4 or 5 videos, and I uploaded them all onto my YouTube channel, I think at the same time. So like, they're not laid out exactly as I had originally did it, but that was definitely one of my first videos. Had to be like first 5 videos, that the one that you had titled. Yeah,
because I was going to say, because that was the very first one listed on your channel, is that one. And then video number 2, I did your first 3 videos here, is your Pokemon base set booster box Shadowless. You just mentioned that one. And then should you care about Topps Pokemon cards? First 3 videos.
Yeah. And see, a lot of those were like financially, like sort of like titled, where I was kind of like buying these things in the beginning, and I was like, is this like a smart move, or am I going to go broke? So maybe I should show what I know and see if like I can maybe help some people out with those decisions. If you know.
Yeah, they're like informational and helpful rather than just like entertaining.
Kind of where I started.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that is exactly where I was going to go with it, Danny. It was like, do you feel like you started off more as an informational channel and now you're more entertainment based, would you say?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, I try to entertain as best as I can. And, you know, the information based stuff, it was good to get my feet wet and to kind of show that I've been involved with the hobby a lot, and I kind of, at least I think I kind of know what I'm doing a little bit. I try to know
I would
what
say
I'm doing.
you do, yeah.
So, but that's kind of where it started because I was never good. I never good on camera. You know, I was camera shy. I was just like a shyer person in general, and so I started with kind of just like the knowledge based stuff. Because I didn't really know, you know, like I said, like how to even honestly, even just how to present myself on camera as I normally am in real life. So it's kind of weird once the camera switches on for the first time. You're like, you get like kind of really like,
hello,
like shy
everyone.
and like, oh my god, like what do I say? Like I can't.
It's when a lot of the ums and uhs start coming out.
The ums and uhs in the beginning are so much, like nonstop, and that's how it was. But and you know how it is. You slowly come out of your shell. You know, you're like a turtle. You're
Exactly.
just like in the beginning,
And
you slowly come out of
you
your shell.
have to take that first step too. I think that's the most hard part for a lot of people is like actually taking the step to make something for the first time and record something.
Yeah, hitting record's the hardest part. It really is. That is the absolute hardest part. And then switching gears here, your most popular videos on your channel, the ones that have the most views. I did the top 2 here.
Yo, were you a researcher? Are you doing?
I did. I did.
Over here.
I did a little bit of research last night. Yeah, I did a little bit of research. Your top video is actually a YouTube short. I don't know if I don't know if you kind of keep track of that or not. Opening a 4,500 Pokemon cards pack.
Yeah, that's the one with the Charizard in it.
So that one wasn't the Charizard one. That one got a lot less views, but this one got so many views. I mean, it kind of captured a lot of people from a broader audience, but it also was right when YouTube launched shorts and the algorithm was just like this crazy monster gobbling up everything and just like throwing it out to everybody, and there was like no competition, nobody like, and compared to what it is now, and like my first 10 shorts were in the beginning and they all just like were just like bangers.
No, exact same way, because I did a shorts channel, and like the first I would say like 10 or 12 shorts were just like they blew up. Just absolutely blew up, and a lot of them still gain views to this day. And now when I upload a short, it's not really a whole lot, but it is weird to kind of see like it was just easily blowing up in the beginning.
It's because they still pop, but they're not like ridiculous how they were back in the day. It's crazy. Like I've noticed that with mine as well. But I remember like one of yours would come up all the time for me. And I think it was like it was like an information.
Yeah.
Like it was like how to do something, like how to tell if your Pokemon, something like, what was it?
How to tell if your Pokemon cards are rare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's literally
right?
It's literally just me telling, like, and it's an informational video, and I got the idea because it was a question that like I got a lot from people who were getting into Pokemon for the very first time. And it was me just like explaining the rarity symbol. Is all it was. Yeah.
That would show up on mine too. Even though I watched it, I'm pretty sure it would show up again.
Yeah, it's that one was my very first YouTube short, and it still gains views like all the time on it. And it
was your first short?
That was my very first short ever. So. And yeah,
it was just sometimes we overthink all this stuff and try to think of all these crazy things, and then at the end of the day, it's just like sometimes the most basic thing you could think of that works. Like,
yeah,
I mean, it's a great idea. Don't get me wrong, but like, if like obviously you try to think of all these crazy ideas, like, oh, let's do this. We'll do a versus with these packs and this block and all this stuff. And you're like, why don't we just explain like rarity symbols? Like, do people understand what the rarity symbols are and like secret rares? Like, I literally had somebody email me the other day that they pulled a secret rare and they didn't know why the number was bigger than the second number, and it's like, oh, that's like actually a good idea because just explain it in 60 seconds.
Right, exactly. And then your most viewed, just like regular YouTube video, is one that was actually uploaded 5 months ago. Was $5 versus $500 Pokemon Booster Pack.
Yeah.
Why do you think that video out of all videos you've done has the most views?
It was something. So like that's what I was getting into earlier about like sort of like the cross category type thing. I would see these other YouTubers with huge followings in all these different categories do all these different videos that are set up in a certain way, and there's this guy I watch. He goes around and he tries food all over the world.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
it's Living Bobby.
Simply.
No, simply
only
dumpling
or
yeah.
So, yeah, that guy. Yeah,
dumpling.
Yeah. So I was watching him, and it was like something like a $5 meal buffet or something versus like a 200 or 500, something crazy.
BuzzFeed did a series like that as well. I remember.
Yeah. So you take the inspiration from those, and I was like, okay, so that's something that would be kind of cool in Pokemon. Like, what if I open up like a $5 pack and then like a $500 pack, and then do all these packs in between it, and see like which one has the best pulls? Because we know that like you can open up a whatever like a Team Up or Evolutions pack and pull like a crazy hit. Like that's worth all this money from like a pack that's only a couple bucks. And then you can open up the $500 one and get something crazy, or you could literally get like nothing. So I was like, that'd be a cool idea. And that was the first time I did that idea, and it was such a like powerful sort of creative style to that sort of Pokemon pack opening that just took off like wildfire. And I still do that sort of concept in different ways, like $1 pack versus $100 pack and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like the viewers get desensitized to it after a while. It's not as oh my god like as what it originally was. So they still do well, but they're not doing.
There's different variations.
On to the next.
You can mix in with that, and I'm a big sucker for the this or that type of content, right? So whether it's like the $1 hotel versus $1,000 a night hotel, or it'll be like U.S. 7-Eleven versus Japan 7-Eleven. Like there's ways to make it not just about the cost of the pack, but it's like the different stylings of it, and I love those type of videos because you get to see the duality of both sides and what you actually get for the money, and I don't know. I think it's really, really cool, that kind of stuff.
And people really connect to it because it's easy to understand. Like, there's another idea that I'm trying to sort of convert over to a Pokemon card style, where it's like there's like a thumbnail. My editor sent it to me. It was like it's split into threes, and it's like noob versus pro versus like hacker, and like something like that. So it's like
that's the ASMR one, isn't it? Is that the ASMR?
Yeah. Well, he sent me the thumbnail. I'm not sure exactly what I didn't watch
it,
but
that one before.
yeah. It's like stuff like that where it's like okay, like maybe like cheap versus whatever you put in the middle versus like expensive, like or obviously or just old versus new, stuff like that where it's like you can kind of tweak it a little bit.
Yeah, the full scale. You get all ends of the spectrum of whatever thing you're talking about.
Yeah,
that'd be
because
cool.
Yeah, it's like as we all know, it's like you gotta get the click. I mean, but you don't want to clickbait where it's like you don't present something that's
you want to deliver.
You want
to deliver,
not clickbait.
Click food, I call it.
Yeah, you're given what you're actually saying. Right. You're not lying. It's just an enhanced title that gets you to come in. Hey, come in, and you're still going to enjoy it. It's not a lie.
I enjoy hearing your creative process. I really do, and I appreciate you, pulling back the curtain a little bit and sharing some of that. But when it comes to you watching YouTube, what rabbit hole do you fall down? That is like, oh, this is my guilty pleasure.
That's a good question. Let me check. Let me see what
I've looking at the history.
Going straight through the YouTube history.
Not necessarily YouTubers, but just like a type of YouTube content that is not like collectible related at all.
Yeah, it's hard to get out of the same genre. Like, I feel like when I was doing Pokemon content, aside from like the close friends and support, all that, it's hard for me to always watch that content because I'm always doing it. So like in my field for the content I'm creating, I don't watch all the same content that's similar to mine. My spread of content I watch is the most random and out there stuff you could think of compared to what I create.
Yeah.
And everyone's like,
Yeah.
oh, you probably watch this and that. It's like, I've never heard of that. Sorry.
I'm the same way. You can only watch so much or get into so much Pokemon stuff if you're making Pokemon videos all day.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, and then like if you start watching stuff that you're doing content of, then like you can kind of start to get into your own brain of like oh man, if my content's not that good, or
unhealthy competition. And the other thing
Right.
is, like, let's say one thing I will not do. Let's say I'm working on something and someone else has already made that video a year ago on the same topic. I will not watch that video for the chance of even accidentally taking something they said or an idea that they
unconsciously
said.
copying
So
it. Yeah.
until I've made that video myself, I won't go watch that video. Or if it's been years since I've seen it, I've already forgotten it, and forgotten exactly what they've said. So I'm very careful about that within my own like friends and other people doing the similar stuff.
That's smart.
Rev, did you come up with a content that?
So I looked through it all, and it's like literally everything from like the channels that are based off of like building your own channel on YouTube and stuff like that. A lot of that stuff.
Yeah, I watch those too.
Like content
Like-
strategy kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, like all that kind of stuff, and then like the random stuff where I'll be watching like the that guy, his name's Nick something, and he makes all these crazy meals and stuff. Like, and then I was looking at like aquarium stuff, and then there's like what's in outer space, like the Riddle channel, or like those channels are like. In 1,000 years, we're gonna have the technology, like,
And
they're just so blown out of proportion. Yeah.
There's a guy named what's his name is Thoughty2 instead of 42. It's Thoughty2, and he talks about like all this crazy, and it's so good, and he has the best voice, and every time he drops it, it's a banger. Every time he drops a video, it's so good.
You can't not click it. But then also I noticed that like I was at the I was looking to put some more like fish in my aquarium that I have, and we went with the family literally yesterday, and I Googled, like, I was looking at some tropical fish that are not super aggressive, and like I just Googled really quickly, and that's all I did. When I got home that night, my recommended on YouTube was like just all these channels, all these like crazy like guys that this dude flew out to like Brazil and has like this giant fish farm that's like millions of dollars, and then it's like you go down the rabbit hole and you click it and you watch it, and like, well, you're gonna get recommended this other dude that's doing this too, and then you just before you know it,
Welcome to the
you're just
tropical
watching.
fish community. Yeah.
Wait, so
Yeah.
maybe this is like you're putting some hints out there. Is this where the PokeRev brand is going next? Is
Tropical
fish
fish.
tanks?
Fish tank.
Is
Whatever's
that where
in
we're
my mind, I
expanding?
use it as inspiration. So you might see me opening up Pokemon cards underwater at one point.
You know
With
what?
your fish.
Has it been done
Shark
before?
infested waters. I
I'm
opened
jumping
100
in
Pokemon
shark-infested
packs.
waters
with
to
sharks.
open this first edition.
That's when you have it go to like the next level for views. Like I only go to a certain point where it's like there's people that will actually do that. That's the crazy part.
And if I pull the Charizard, I will give this random subscriber $1,000 right now on the spot.
So with I want to get your thoughts here with obviously Pokemon growing, 25th anniversary last year. I feel like right now it's bigger than it was back in the late 90s and early 2000s. I feel like it is way bigger now at this point. As a brand, where do you see Pokemon going? Do you see it turning into like a Disney situation?
Pokemon
possibly?
Land.
Yeah, like where there's like amusement parks and like you see Pokemon, because the Disney brand is everywhere. I mean, you go into any store, literally, gas station, Disney brand's there. Do you see Pokemon getting to that level in the future?
I do, yeah. I think there's so many opportunities for them to kind of go out there and get that the possibilities are kind of endless at this point. They see the growth that's happened ever. Really, I feel like that Pokemon Go hype train really just pushed it up to the next level, and then from there, it just kind of catapulted it even crazier 2-3 years ago, as we know, and then all the big social media influencers getting into it, just even pushing it to like the next level. But I do, and I'm really interested to see what they're going to be doing with the whole Pokemon Go TCG that's dropping in
Yes.
June, right? End of June.
Yeah, we've been talking about that over the summer.
Yeah, let's get your thoughts on that. That's a good point to talk about, because we have talked about it the past 2 or 3 weeks, trying to speculate what it could be, like even the art style, like just trying to figure out where they're going with this, and is there going to be some sort of integration with the Pokemon Go game itself? What are your thoughts on the Pokemon Go card set? What's your expectations here?
I mean, I'm expecting them to somehow have it optimized in a way where you can bounce back and forth from the game to the cards in some way. I don't exactly know how they would go about it. I'm not a super active player on that, so I don't really know what's going on with everything with Pokemon Go now, the actual game itself. But I could see something maybe like a modern E-Series style where there's in some way you can scan it in. I mean, it would make complete sense, with the amiibo style thing that Nintendo is doing and all that stuff, and a strategy where they can say, okay, you can get certain cards that will do certain whatever, have certain effects on your Pokemon or whatever the case might be. I could see that definitely happening, but I'm very curious because I have no idea how they're gonna present the artwork and the actual style of the cards. I know it's considered a main series set, a Sword and Shield set. Yeah. They have ETBs, they have stuff like that coming with it, which is because some people were spectating before that was even presented that it was going to be like a sort of like a sub set thing without any of that bigger product. So I'm really interested to see how that is going to, how it's going to be. I don't know if you guys had any other opinions on it. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, we've gone into it a few times on here, but our guess is maybe real photos, like, because based on the photos they show, it looks like it'll be real landmarks with the Pokemon at these landmarks. And we don't know if it's something that they've just created in editing or if it's like actual photos that they've turned into cards that the community is taking.
Yeah, like screenshot kind of a thing.
Yeah, so
I think they have to do AR with it they have to find a way to integrate AR with it or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like make the cards interactive with the game.
We have we saw the Willow card have the code, right? But I don't think they're gonna have all these cards with all these different codes that you can use to put in the game. I think that's just too much to keep up. But I do like the idea of almost like amiibo cards, like for Animal Crossing. You can go and get those cards. They have a little, they're a little thicker because they have the little, chip in there to read. But if there's a way to integrate that technology, then each card could be unique and scanned up to a certain number of times to work into the game. Or because like the Animal Crossing ones have like 3 times that you can use it before they're out of use,
expired or whatever.
So. Yeah. That could be an easy way to get around having to make individual codes. Or it's just a card game, and then you get like how you get a code for the TCG Live, you get a code that's for the game itself, and the cards are just regular cards.
Oh, yeah, you're right, they could put a special like Pokemon Go code in each one instead of the TCGO code.
Yeah, or you get like a free raid pass or something that's included in the packs that makes it like, well, there are Pokemon cards, but they're also advertised.
Yeah. Yo, we gonna be getting a lot of free raid passes.
So
I'm curious to see if it turns out to be like, is this a one-time thing? Obviously, Pokemon Go is here to stay. Is this a one-time set of Pokemon Go, or do we see this every few years to kind of update with the game itself?
It could be. Could be back in a couple years.
They could just find a way to integrate it with every other Pokemon game, like even the Switch ones, if they wanted to do that.
Yeah, we're finding subsets continue. Like, it made sense maybe why we didn't get another Evolutions, like, continuing that theme, because that was, like, a mainline set. But since, like, Go is as a specialty set in the middle is, like, almost like a pseudo-holiday set, we've seen Hidden Fates become Shining Fates.
Pseudo-holiday.
It's not. It's just the middle of summer. It's not like the holiday time set. So, I don't know. It could be something like that where we saw Hidden Fates, and then years later we got Shining Fates, which is the same concept. You have your Shiny Vault, and you have all your regular in the set, and I'm sure we'll get another something Fates eventually with a whole other batch of shinies in there. So it could be something like that every few years.
It could be.
Or not, I don't know.
Fates.
No, well,
Yeah.
it's fine. It's
I'll
fine.
make the rules.
Let me see where we're
I'm
at
just
here
here
on
for it.
time.
I just
All right. I will say it is interesting, like sitting here and talking, all of us, and we rarely get to see each other in person. However, when the time does come to see each other in person, it's not like weird or awkward at all, if that makes sense. Because maybe it's like a high school friend that you haven't seen in a while, or you know what I mean, like that, it's always kind of like awkward. But like in an instance like this, and I'll use Texas for example, when we were all there in February.
Oh yeah, late January, early Feb, I think.
Yeah, like the end of Jan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was like we text each other and say, hey, you want to meet up for lunch? You want to meet up for dinner? And we all meet up and we walk in like we hang out every weekend, type of thing. And we just instantly start talking, and I don't know, it's just something about it is very like warm and inviting. And we sat in an ice cream shop and talked for
Jenny's.
For what, like 3
ice cream.
3 hours,
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, we were in there for a long time. I'm surprised
missed
they didn't
the
kick us
ice
out.
crean.
I'm gonna be honest.
They're the only people in there. I wasn't even there for the ice cream.
My ice cream was melted. It was like a drink. That's how long we were in there.
Ice cream soup.
No, but it was. I just want to say it is nice to be able to just kind of not see each other a whole. I mean, it's not nice to not see each other, but to not see each other a whole lot and then get together and it's not awkward.
Yeah, just
at all.
reconnect. Like nothing. Yeah, like no time was lost.
Mm-hmm. And I know that a lot of times, like, people always think there's some sort of like competition or like oh, so and so doesn't like so and so type of thing, and like there's really not. It's like
I mean, suit yourself. I'm trying to fight y'all at any moment in time.
We get together, we have a good
Get in the
time,
ring.
we have laughs, and it's a nice genuine friendship. And so I just wanted to put that out there. But Rev, I know we've kept you here for about 35-40 minutes, and I appreciate, as we all do, we appreciate you being here. And I just want to say, on behalf of me and everybody else here and everybody listening, congratulations on all your success and your growth and where you're going to go from here on out. I mean, you absolutely deserve it. So you've put in the hard work.
Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
We're very proud
you
of
guys
you.
Definitely have all inspired me along the way, and especially you in the beginning, Nate. I was like texting you like every question under the sun, and you didn't hesitate to help me out with that. So
No problem. Yeah, I remember there were like 1 a.m. texts too.
yeah, I was. Yeah.
Oh, and I'm always up at 1 a.m. I'm always up at 1 a.m. But Rev, go ahead, tell everybody where they can find you if they've never seen any of your stuff before, so they can check you out.
Yeah, definitely. Well, actually, maybe I can switch my little screen a little bit. Oh, there we go. That's me. PokeRev. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I have a Reddit page, Twitter.
Stay connected. You have a Reddit?
Stay connected. I have a Reddit. It's fun because I'll go through and I'll do like Reddit reviews where people will send me like their polls and stuff, and it's fun to kind of. I haven't done a video on that in a while, but I'll just be like, hey, we'll go through and we'll see what you guys pulled or whatever.
I gotta join your subreddit. Gotta get in on that.
Yeah, get in there, throw those polls in.
Well, Rev, thank you for being here, and I hope you'll come back here again soon. And I'll just end it on this. Thank you for being a friend.
Thank you for being a friend.
All right, that's it. We'll get copyright.
Oh yeah.